Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Small Talk Big Ideas. Today we have both the Mings here hosting a very special friend. Man, how long have we known you? Who you, what you do?
How long? I can't remember. I think 4 years, 5 years, maybe.
More than that lah.
Maybe more than
It's through
5
Joanne
years.
lah.
Yeah.
I know we met through Joanne and Brian.
That's true. So, for everyone who has no idea who you are, why don't you introduce yourself a bit? You don't even have to go to what you do. Like, just who are you?
I'm Jovy. I am a human.
Okay.
I guess I write, but mainly I guess why I'm here is because I run independent cinema, independent private cinema called AMENIC Film Space. And it's located in a small suburb called Damansara, Kim.
Wow. This is the first time I've heard Damansara Kim be referred to as suburb. That's amazing.
Just writer things. But for everyone joining in on the conversation today, I think today is a very interesting topic because we're talking about a sort of industry that is monopolized by very big players, and how Jovy and his partner have managed to find a very interesting space and that they can call their own in terms of both the market and physical location. But before we jump into that, Jovy, some quick questions. We're going to get to know you a little bit before we jump into what you do, right? Because obviously today we're talking about movies and all things film related. Can you tell us, this is going to be difficult because I'm going to I'll find top 3 favorite movies in this current time. I know yours changes.
As in during MCO, what I watch.
Or I don't know, up to you. Of all time. Let's go with all time.
Of all time. Wow. Okay, so this question, right, it's really tricky because why you like a movie can range from so many different reasons, right? So I always tell people that if you want to pick this top 3, it's nearly impossible. But if it's top 3 with reasons, then maybe there is possibility.
And this is, ladies and gentlemen, this is how you know this guy is the real deal. Okay? even picking a top 3 needs a disclaimer. So, you know.
Because I've had this conversation with a lot of my customers and the community, and it's
right.
You can't just say top 3 like that. It's not doable.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay. Yeah. So if you had to unprejudicedly, non-generally decide on a top 3, what would it be?
I always say that The Prestige is one because that was the one that made me start watching movies and open my eyes to what it can be. Yeah, that is for sure one of them, The Prestige.
How about the other 2?
The other 2, see, that's where I stopped thinking about it because it's too hard.
Then I guess we can just take number Lord of the Rings.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay. And the third one?
Okay, you don't consider it as 3 movies, right?
Yeah, you got to consider it as one.
And the last one, I don't know. Maybe for sentimental value, Toy Story, I guess.
Oh, that's a good pick, man. Very, very good pick. Okay.
Yeah.
And is there a particular movie? Okay, actually, you mentioned The Prestige really got you into all of this, right? But what, besides that, so what are some of, I guess, creative content things that you consume that you really enjoy?
Wow. First time being asked this. What do you mean?
Because I mean, you own an independent cinema. You're also a writer. You eat movies, So what else do you do? What else do you enjoy consuming in terms of media besides movies?
I always say that stories are stories, right? It doesn't matter if it's a movie, a book, or what. So I guess I actually don't watch movie as my primary creative intake. I guess it would be games actually. A lot of games now. Yeah. Especially with the rise of indie games, you get a lot of very story-driven and emotionally heavy stories. It's really good.
Oh, man.
Really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
Man.
Okay, let's jump into today's topic. So, the name AMENIC, right? Before this even came into life, what were you doing before that?
Your origin story.
Your origin story.
Really boring though, actually. So I studied mass comm back in the day. That was a thing, and then I went into public relations for a year. I almost died doing that because it was so corporate.
Right.
I did it because Asian parents, lah, right? In
Mm,
between business and writing. Because I really like to write. So
mm,
public relations was the most writing-based corporate job that I could think of at that time. And from there, I hopped into advertising, joined Creative Juice, and really blew my mind because all I had to do was literally just think about ideas and write stuff. That was all I did for 2 years in advertising. Um, and
mm,
then after that, got tired of the industry. Can't say too much there, but I'll just say that I got tired of the industry. And then I left to pursue a small little personal project of mine, which is to try to write a book.
mm.
Still doing it. It's not easy, it takes time. And then
Yeah.
along the way came the idea of AMENIC. So
Mm.
yeah.
Man. Well, what are the odds you set off on a book adventure and you think up a shop? I mean, if you ask me, that's a really big stretch, man. But yeah, the biggest things like I think we know about Jovy is first, even before the whole movie start, you are a gamer and a book enthusiast, and sometimes games and books collide with each other as well. So uh, the best conversations that I think I've had with Jovi are always around the science fiction genres about stuff. Uh, and sometimes when we even want to bounce off ideas of our own stories, I think if you guys are watching and you're writing a book, you definitely want Jovi to read it. If it's science fiction, that's the best compliment I can give in
Thank
terms
you.
of that, man. Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
we met you in a space where you're doing writing and copywriting and everything. Do you think that this structure is definitely the thing that pushed you to? I mean, with everyone's origin story, there was that trigger that sparked off in your head. Hey, you were doing a creative thing for work. Don't get me wrong, right? You were creating for work, but what was that thing that what? Maybe I want to do my own thing. What sparked that?
My gosh, yeah, for the lack of better words, I guess it was industry politics that really made me sick of
Right,
it.
right,
Yeah, because I'm someone who I can't just quietly do my job and accept how things are just because the industry is that way. I
right,
can't. If I see like the dark side of something, I can't take it, and if I
mm,
can't do anything about it, I'll feel really helpless, and I will
right.
want to move out or change of environment if I can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Okay, that's interesting. And then
Yeah.
your partner. Let's talk about AMENIC, right? How did that come into being? How did both of you decide? You know what? Let's do this. This is what we're gonna do with an empty space in Damansara. In Damansara.
So Shantu, which is who's founded AMENIC with me,
Mm,
he was a colleague of mine in advertising. So
Hmm.
he's a really, really creative dude, like one of those guys who cannot see black and white. He always sees the
mm,
gray of things, for better or worse sometimes. But that's his brilliance, lah. So I really like. I didn't really work with him in advertising because we're in different teams, but
mm,
I talked to him about stuff and bounce ideas off him. Really creative mind, lah.
mm.
So he resigned from the advertising company Creative Juice with me, I think almost about the same year.
Right.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. So he went off, he did his own thing, went to America to start a small phone case company, and
Wow.
somehow, yeah, he just went on an adventure lah, that dude, really kind of YOLO thing. I
Wow.
respect. Yeah. So he came back, not really sure what to do after that. We didn't really fly off. And then just one day we were hanging out because I know he's someone who can accept crazy ideas. So I
Mm,
just one day I read an article. I remember very clearly. Some musician, and then he said that, oh, my favorite pastime is to go to Europe and enjoy secret cinemas. And I'm like, what is this secret cinema?
oh
So I
wow.
went on a googling spree. I couldn't find anything. I really couldn't find anything. I just found some like hipster bars and all that had movie nights. So I couldn't imagine what is this secret cinema that he mentioned about. So
Right.
I just believed that it was independent cinemas and all that. And then there, at the same time, if I'm not mistaken, I think Jurassic Park had an anniversary or
Right.
one of those movies, and then I was just thinking to myself, hey, wouldn't it be cool if you could rent out a hall or a cinematic space that you can re-experience your old favorite movies, especially movies that you miss in cinemas.
Mm,
Because last time when I was working in advertising, it was long hours, overtime, and you tend to miss a lot of movies. Then you watch it on
mm.
your laptop, it kind of
That's
sucks.
true.
So
That's
yeah, so I literally just said all this to Shantu at that time, and then he was like, "Yeah, sounds good actually." Because he also likes the older classic movies. He doesn't really like all the new blockbusters and all that.
Mm.
And that kind of kicked off lah. And then we have a saying in advertising that we learn is that if you have an idea and if you sleep on it, and then like 2 to 3 days later when you wake up and you still remember that idea, or maybe even a week later, and then that idea will be worth thinking about. Because
Mm.
sometimes, so many ideas, some of them are not
Mm-mm.
that great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think like a month later, I just like texted him again, and he said, yeah, he's been thinking about how to pull it off convincingly. So
Wow.
that went about, and then we just like, yeah, maybe we can do this, we can do this. We did more
Mm.
research, and yeah, eventually it came to be, and it really
Yeah.
happened.
Wow, dude.
So good
Okay,
stuff, man.
so I think maybe to paint people a physical picture of what AMENIC is like. Also, it's a very interesting. I mean, if you guys haven't got it by now, it's actually cinema in reverse.
Mm.
AMENIC is, imagine just a sort of like a space with maybe 3 rooms, right? 4 rooms now? 4 rooms.
Three.
3 rooms, okay. 3 rooms where each room has its own dedicated, I guess, you have your seats, sound system, and of course,
Mm.
your HD screen
Project.
projector thingamajig, right? And I
Yep.
think the interesting thing about how AMENIC works is that you go there and then you have this library, literally a library of movies, both classic ones and newer ones that people can choose from. But the interesting thing also about AMENIC is how personal it is, because it's not just about the things that you can watch there. It's how if Jovy or his partner is there, you guys can talk to them and they can recommend you guys
Yeah.
a movie as well. So what is like when it comes to I guess, I mean, just the idea of rewatching things that you wanted to watch in your own space and your own time, because with cinemas today you have to pay tickets to watch it at a certain time, and there's only so many movies that are happening, so you can't be like, yeah, I want to watch like that movie from back in 2010, right? Is Do you think that that has become one of the, I guess, the USPs of AMENIC, and was it accidental, or was that, I mean, maybe it was quite intentional the way you said it just now?
Yeah, you can say it was intentional because there's a lot of movies that don't come into Malaysia for many reasons.
Mm.
Sometimes censorship, sometimes the cinemas think they won't sell well, so they just
Mm.
don't bother bringing it in here. So personally, like me, I want to watch movies that sometimes don't come here. And when you want to do that in Malaysia, what else, right? You download online.
Right.
So I was just thinking that, and if you watch it on a laptop, the experience is different. So it was quite intentional that we really wanted to have a very wide range of movies, especially movies that never entered Malaysia or
Mm.
hard to find online sometimes. Even with Netflix nowadays, you don't get all the movies. And we're not just talking about classics or what, we're talking about maybe some European movies,
Mm.
foreign
Mm.
films,
Mm.
and especially cult classics. Because a lot of cult classics are, I mean, generally it's not seen as a good movie, but when you give it a chance, you'll be surprised sometimes how much you can enjoy a cult classic
Mm.
movie. Yeah. And yeah, the experience, like what Mingyu mentioned, was something we have to pick up along the way. Because when we were making the space, we were figuring out the licensing, how do we bring the movies in, what type of projectors we need, what type of speakers we need. All those are fine because you can actually research. But the one thing that we couldn't research was actually how to recommend movies, like what Mingyu said.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, Netflix is easy, right? They just use an algorithm. You watch this,
Yeah.
they'll probably lead you to that, and then
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
but first, we always tell customers to don't be afraid to try, especially if you haven't tried a genre or you haven't tried watching something more serious or whatever
Right.
else. So it took time. It took us maybe I think 3 to 4 months to figure out how to like even just to physically arrange our life because we use Blu-ray copies. So it's a whole shelf of like
Yep.
500 movies.
It's a
So
majestic shelf. Yeah.
even just to arrange it in what certain genres or like one shelf is dedicated to a director was really tricky because we wanted to make it, we didn't want to intimidate people when they come to our shop, you see, because we want to cater to like the cinephiles and just to the casual moviegoers. So when they come to our shop, we have to talk to them, we have to understand what they like or what they don't like. Even like let's say for horror, I think horror is a very easy way to explain this. Like some people they just don't watch horror because there are ghosts in the
I.e.
movie.
me. Yes.
So people like you, we were like, okay, if you don't like horror but you want to try, maybe just for whatever reason you feel like trying horror on that day. So we have a selection of movies that is horror, but does not have the ghost element in it. So you will feel the thrill, you will have the jump scares, but there will be no ghost, and we can reassure you of that lah. So some people take that as like the first step into the horror genre.
Mm.
Slowly, you delve deeper into whatever genre you want. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think my favorite example I always give everyone is that if you like Iron Man and you only watch Iron Man, there's no way you can jump into Godfather and love.
Yeah.
Of course, you need to baby step yourself, to
Yeah.
different things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, Jovy, you brought up a very interesting point about, I guess, in running AMENIC and your selection of products, right, is very a contrast to, because all these big players, the focus is, I mean, would like it or not, it's really on profit, right? When it comes to big cinemas, right? And it's always about what movie is doing well, and if it's doing well, can it be played for longer? And so I guess that's why movie taste in Malaysia, in the Malaysian audience, is very skewed because it's been very profit
Yeah.
based, right? I like how you brought that up, because I think if we're looking at a film industry, right, across the world, Asia actually has a wealth of like independent, like so much good like independent movies, right? And even locally, we have a lot of good stuff that actually, unfortunately, sometimes either don't even make it to the cinema, or things as amazing as like when Quack did what's that movie called again? Um,
Go on.
Guang, yeah. I mean, it was, I think, the first round, it was only in cinemas for like a week or two, because like maybe the cinemas were like, this is not going to be profitable, I'm going to take this off, right? But it won so many awards. It's like what are your, I mean, you would talk about the difficulties there. What is your hope for Malaysia's film audience in that aspect?
I think after running AMENIC for 2 to 3 years, um, my hope will be that we will be more open to things, not just about movies. I mean, I just take music for example, right? Live music. We tend to only go and we are willing to pay for like the popular artists. We won't pay for like a local band who we probably never heard of before. You know.
Mm.
So I guess it's the same thing with movies, right? Every time you need to have a star name, you need to have a star director, Christopher Nolan, and then like the whole of Malaysia will flock to the movies.
Yeah.
Whereas if you give someone like Lulu Wang, and you're like, who's Lulu Wang? She's just an Asian lady. So I guess it's that herd mentality in Malaysia
Mm.
sometimes, and unfortunately, it's just our culture of society here. And but there is signs that we are taking steps that to
Yes.
go these, and we are
Yeah.
giving smaller things a chance. And
Mm.
sometimes, especially, I think the favorite thing, the satisfaction that I get a lot is that when people come to my shop and they're a bit afraid to try a certain movie, and if I
Mm.
manage to coax them into trying something, and when they
Mm.
try it, especially like a genre they never tried before, a movie like more dialogue heavy based movie, and then when they come out of the movie, right, and their face is just like, oh my god, I've never experienced something like that before, and it's good. And then within 2 or 3 weeks, they'll be back. It's like poison. You get one of it, and you just want
Mm.
more and more.
Mm.
So I think my hope is that people will give things a chance, give more things a chance.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you mentioned that there's signs that that we are hopefully also learning to appreciate these things, right? Do you think that that because of, I guess, the internet as well, that there is a bit more, I don't know, exposure to these things, and then also, what is the community like in terms of movie buffs and all these cinephiles, right? Gathering around and making AMENIC sort of their, I guess, their background, their playground to meet and also
That
enjoy these
temple.
things. Yeah, their temple, right? Is there a community that people are not aware of?
I guess there are people who the cinephiles in Malaysia are quite aware of it. There are actually a few film clubs around, and then they really show some really eclectic collections, like even more eclectic than what we have in AMENIC.
Mm,
Like those black and whites, really art house stuff. So
Mm.
there are a few, really small in KL, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah.
Mm.
Um, but so it's very tricky in Malaysia because you have the casual moviegoers, then you have the cinephiles, and then you have the really purist cinephiles out there who won't even. It's really hard to explain. Let me think. Let me think of a good way to word this out, especially when you ask about the community. There's definitely a community because I think with, like you said, with the internet, the appreciation for movies has increased, especially with all the YouTube, the film analysis, YouTubers and all that, especially with movie reviewers, is quite a lot out there right now. So when, especially like the youngsters, when they come to our space and they learn and discover more about film, like, oh, there's so much more than just the MCU.
Yeah.
And then slowly, they will want to talk to people who knows about movies, and maybe they want to learn a bit more how to appreciate certain filming styles more. So we host film discussions every week. Well, we used to before MCO, and it's great. The people there, I mean, it's so hard to find people to talk about films, right, in Malaysia. So when you have a space like AMENIC, where when you go there and you know that you'll meet like-minded people, then you can just geek out all the way. So like we had a screening of The Shining once, the Stanley Kubrick movie, and the movie ended at 10:30, and then I think like 15 people stayed back until 1 a.m. just going on and on about the movie and all the theories. Yeah, so it has happened for different movies and different genres, and yeah, people just want to talk about it. I mean, it's just like if you're passionate about something, you want to meet other people. And then now with bookshops closing, comic book shops closing, the places to gather, sanctuaries for all these hobbies and all, getting less and less. So yeah, people want it.
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned stuff about closing. I think that's like the immediate next thing, right? That I think not just you guys, but I think everyone has gone through a season of the whole lockdown, MCO. The COVID-19 has literally showed us what post-apocalyptic movies could start and how they could start. And now we all have like the firm understanding, right? We always call people in this movie stupid, right? Like, why would you walk to the door? Why would you chase the ghost? Like, why would you go to the monster? And then now we have like the modern day examples of like, why are you not wearing masks? You know?
Yeah.
So it's like we're getting that real life experience, right? How is it like? I mean, how has things been like? Because I mean, cinemas have been hit hard, right? Cinemas have everyone like we know who is working in a retail cinema, like a major cinema. When something like gathering in a space starts to be prohibited, how have you guys gone through it, and like what is it been like from the MCO into like what things are now?
During the MCO, of course, we're closed. Yeah, there's just no other way about it. But okay, so I'm sure you guys, if you didn't know, the film industry is really affected by this. Not just the cinemas, but the film production and film releases. Everything is delayed. Everything is backlogged. So, okay, so there's a few ways to break this down, lah. Gathering in big spaces doesn't really affect us because they're so small. Like what Meng said. So our rooms only fit maximum 10 people at one time.
Right.
Don't fit like 500 people like in the bigger cinemas. So that is something that we are not affected at all. Even our smaller rooms only fit 2 to 4 people. So in a way, we were made for social distancing. Even before MCO, some of our customers, our regulars, they like to come to our place because it is social distancing. There's no crowd in our space, and they like the quiet, the peace and quiet that they can have in our space. Introverts, yeah, love it. So when MCO happened, I understand that a lot of bigger cinemas, especially in Malaysia, they're really worried there's no movies to launch with, right? Like say, Nolan's Tenet is delayed, and you can see very clearly that everyone is just waiting for that. If not, they won't return to the cinemas because they're still worried about COVID. So that is something that I was pretty confident we will not be affected because we've always been playing older films in AMENIC, like maybe 6 months or 1 year older films.
Yeah.
So we've never once relied on like new film hype, which cinemas really rely on. They blast trailers all over, posters everywhere. So somehow we've already, like, we took a year or two to build that reputation and that niche for older films. So I guess in a way with MCO and how the film industry is affected, AMENIC is not really affected. They kind of bypass a lot of things that is affecting the industry.
Mm,
Lah.
mm.
It's just that we have to take more costs to clean the place and
Of course,
make
Yeah.
sure people practice the
of course.
SOPs and all.
I guess like wow, when you actually as you said it kind of makes sense as well, right? Because I think if you go to a public cinema, you are going to be sitting next to strangers, but sometimes when you come with your own family and friends, there is a certain, I guess, without overstepping the boundaries on this, there is a certain kind of control you have with the people you visit with, and with you guys uphold the whole cleanliness and hygienic and sanitizing the place. I guess wow, that is a nice thing to hear. I guess because a lot of people are definitely struggling with business and how to shift it into what it is supposed to be. It kind of looks like you guys are already there when in terms of coming to like bringing cinema into like a private space, right? So yeah, wow. What do you know? I guess your business model was modeled for seasons like this, pretty
Yeah,
much.
really. The only thing that was a bit of a concern was because everyone was at home, right, during that 2 months, and everyone was just streaming and like binging on Netflix. And it
Mm.
was a bit of a concern. I was like, oh, there goes all our old movies because people have 2 months of time to just watch
Yeah, yeah.
all the movies they
Mm.
want. But then during MCO, we've had customers who message us and actually ask us, hey, can you recommend something for me to watch? Because they have a whole library of Netflix movies, but they don't know what to watch.
Right.
And Netflix pushes what they want to push. They won't push the good stuff. They only push what they want to push. So we've had quite a few customers message us like what to watch on Netflix. And then we like, okay, I mean,
Right.
I want to recommend, but I can't recommend everything because I have to save some for M&A.
Yeah.
So
Right.
yeah, and they actually when they come back after we were allowed to open again, when they came back,
Right.
they actually said like, oh my god, thank goodness. Like even though they have Netflix at home, they just really don't know what to watch sometimes.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. At least,
Do you?
I mean, on
Yeah.
Netflix, you don't have guys like you advising lah. They have a recommended algorithm. Okay, not two guys who have opinions. So yeah.
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 You can say that. Lah.
I think when you look at content moving in that direction, right? Like, cause we've if you look at how we've been always bound to time slots and content that we don't choose, so that's TV. Then even satellite TV, Astro stuff like that, and even cinemas, we're all very used to that sort of programming. When it comes to free choice, right? It's like, whoa, what do we do now? And I think that's it's a
Mm.
very interesting point that you brought up because now even with Netflix and the wealth of like stuff that you can find on YouTube with upcoming stuff like Disney Plus and all that, right? There's so much room for content to be consumed.
Mm.
Really, like we always said it last time, right? But really now it's like whenever, whatever, for whoever. So, how do you think? Or what are your hopes for AMENIC to be in about 5 to 10 years time? Because I think you guys have done actually a lot of
Mm.
community sort of activities already. If I'm not wrong, you guys did a screening of like some of Yasmin Ahmad's films as
Yeah.
well. And
Mm.
then there was like a big, there was like people speaking and sharing stuff as well.
Right.
Um, because you guys are not just an independent cinema, but because you guys operate in you guys operate like in the evergreen, like timeless space, right? Because cinemas are all, they have to play what's new, what's current, what's coming out next. The fact that you guys are operating in this sort of like alternate reality where time is like
Mm.
it's irrelevant, right? What's the big dream for AMENIC,
Big dream for M&A. I mean,
or at least
okay,
your hopes for it? Yeah.
we really want to host more local movies.
Right.
Um, a lot of times our space right now is too small because the local
Right.
movies, local producers, they struggle to make returns lah for what they invest into the movies.
Mm.
So, and like you said earlier, when they enter the cinemas, they have to compete with the Hollywood blockbusters, which is
Yeah.
near impossible. So, if you look at countries like Thailand, where they have a really strong local movie scene, how it works is that the smaller cinemas are the ones who give the local films a bigger chance, a bigger shot at
Yeah.
succeeding. So, I really want to be able to do that for the local scene. And to do that, we need a bigger space, probably to fit maybe like 50 people or 100 people. And actually, that was supposed to happen now. We are supposed to be in a new space now,
Yeah.
but everything's been
Yeah.
delayed, the MCO. So that is something that we were really working hard towards, lah, and it was supposed to happen. I hope it's still happening. Um, and another thing that came along the way when we made plans for moving into a bigger space was to host film festivals. Um, Korea has the Busan Film Festival. Even Singapore has the SIFF Film Festival. And Malaysia, we don't have any film festivals. There are a lot of reasons that from the powers above that's why it's really difficult to host one in Malaysia. But I think that would be the dream, because there is a really an active group of people in Malaysia that really wants this, and they're willing to pay for it. They're willing to invest time and energy in it. It's just that they don't have a platform to do it, and I guess that's the so-called the far dream to be able to host it, lah.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, maybe even have our own award show.
Yeah.
That would be the dream, man, one day.
Like picks, yeah, favorite picks Malaysia loves, you know. Okay.
We don't have a credible award or anything in Malaysia right now after what happened 2 to 3 years ago.
Yeah. I think like what really makes a difference for your place is that you're right. A lot of people are very skeptical to movies, and we grew up in a very like how do I say this? We grew up with like, oh, that movie is promoted the best. It should be the best movie. That no one's talking about that movie. It's not in the cinemas. It should not be that great. You know, we are pop movie culture, right? But I think if people actually give I mean, any chance to your like what you guys do, it's almost as if a friend who's taking you to eat something new for the first time, right? Yeah,
Right.
and it's not just word of mouth, because I think you guys back it up with a lot of knowledge, and uh you don't force your own, how would I say, taste onto other people, right? There is not a bad movie recommendation because you guys have like a library of of I mean so many titles. Like if you guys actually visit the space just to take pictures also can, you will definitely get hooked into watching one of the movie one. And because like the way things are going, right, more and more people, I mean, are browsing things online, and people call it surfing, people call it spiraling down the rabbit hole. More and more people are very used to getting recommendations from, well, computers, which is the algorithm. So do you think that, where you guys are right now, right, in the entertainment industry, do you think there's really space for switching back, because we've went through the whole paradigm of people want to choose whenever they want to watch whatever they want to watch. And I feel like we've reached the apex of that paradigm already, where it's like, okay, I don't want to choose for myself anymore. Can someone please tell me what to watch? Do you think that the entertainment industry is going to be affected by this? Especially, I mean, okay, let's just put it that way. It's definitely already affected by the fact that, no one can go out to cinemas. Do you think people are going to continue, I guess, just putting it off, or like downloading shows online? Or is there a space for cinemas cinemas like what you do, to blossom or to scale or to really be this new form of, how I say, hand-picked entertainment for people?
I, I think so. I think there is a space for that. How big? I'm really not sure, because we it's not something that we can just spend money, add money in, and then just blow it up
Right. Right.
with really nice decor and all that. It's not something that you can just throw money at. You need to grow it, and how much you can grow really depends on how willing the community is to try and to
Right.
believe in new product or something.
Right.
So I mean, like how the industry is affected. Even some big studios now, they're not even launching the movie in cinemas. They're just going straight to streaming, right?
Right.
But when you go online, just like anything else, there's so much noise that you
Right.
can't differentiate the good and the bad. It's
Right.
just so
Absolutely.
much. Yeah, and like recommendation is done by with a robot algorithm. It's not
That's true.
personalized. They say it's personalized, but you know it's not
That's
truly personalized. It's just like what Ming Han said, when a friend recommend you something, because your friend knows you, your friend knows your tastes, what is your preferences, and that recommendation will always be stronger than just a 95% on whatever website.
Mm.
So I guess there is a chance for this to blossom, because like there's only so much you can watch in the bigger cinemas, right? Sometimes, and because we had such a rich history of movies along the way, that there's just so much that we have missed out. I think the best, one very good example that I can give is that earlier this year, I had a young couple. I think maybe they were like 21 years old or so. They came into my shop. About 10 minutes, they couldn't decide what to watch. They probably have no idea about a lot of the titles. So just for whatever reason, I saw the Inception Blu-ray cover, and I'm like, "Hey, have you guys watched Inception before?" And they said that they don't even know what is Inception, and that just killed me because they did not to say that they never even watch it. They don't even know about Inception. So I let them watch it, and then when it came out, they were like, "Oh my god, this movie is probably the best movie they ever watched in the last 5 years."
Wow.
So that's the thing, right? Old movies are not bad. Old movies have so much value that we just never knew because we never bothered looking back sometimes.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, just put it this way, Inception is not that old. Well, it's already 10 years old.
Yeah, it is.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
10 years old. So just think about it. For every year that goes along the way, right, the list of movies in our rich history of cinema is just growing and growing. Don't even take the obscure stuff like the European films. Just take
Yeah.
blockbusters, for example. And then with every year, with every new person born and as they grow up, there's just so much to look back to in movies, not just what is online or what is popular at the moment.
Yeah.
I think like maybe for people below the age of 20, I think maybe 80% has never watched like Back to the Future, your favorite one. So
That
it's
is the
crazy.
movies I live by, man. Yeah.
And it's so good. Like if you watch it now, it doesn't even feel old. Some movies they didn't age well, but some movies really they age perfectly. You don't even feel old. Man, it's
Right.
just
Yeah. I think there's so much to take out just from this conversation with the hunt behind the meaning and why you guys started it, right? And there's a space for people to appreciate things that are timeless in that sense. And I think that's also, that's maybe a very good way to look at our industry locally and even abroad in the film industry, because if people are so focused on just chasing the latest blockbusters, which may not even be good, they really miss out on a lot of great movies that has been there maybe even a year before their realization. But Jovy, thank you so much for spending the morning with us talking about what you do. Can you just quickly tell us more, for everyone who's interested, where to find AMENIC and anything of that sort that's happening?
I think the best way to contact us is on Facebook. We are very active there, and we post a lot of really good movie-based conversation posts. Oh, that's not a really good sentence, but yeah, we're really active on Facebook. Instagram is we are also there on Instagram. You can just Google us. It's really easy to find us online. We put in a lot of effort on that. If physically you want to find us, you can hit the Damansara, Kim, if you can even find out where that is. It's near Damansara Uptown, and then we are upstairs above a cute little shop called La Tabula.
Really good fusion food as well, so good times and good foods, always a good combo,
Yeah, but thank you so much again, Jovy, for hanging out with us and talking about all things cinema and film. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We'll see you guys in the future. And if you're interested in any particular topics, please recommend it and suggest it in the comment section below. Get caught up with the rest of the episodes. And hope you guys are safe and sound. Take care, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.